York's classic rock, Q1043.
New York's classic rock, Q104.3. It's 8:06. And we're very happy to welcome Greg Buttle to our show and to Q104.3 because he has his own show here now, too.
That's right. Welcome to the team, Greg.
It's good to have you with us.
Well, you know what? It's always great to be seen, as they say.
I'll be fine here.
Okay, this is a question that goes back to, I guess, your childhood. Okay, you were drafted by the Jets in the third round, 1976 NFL draft, but you hated the Jets. You hated them.
That's right. I hated the Jets. You know what? It's a simple reason. Because when I was 12 years old, the Jets were in the Super Bowl and they played the Baltimore Colts. My favorite football team in the NFL. I loved Don Shula. I loved the Colts. I was down in South Jersey and the Baltimore Colts were about 90 miles away. And I'll tell you what, I knew every player, everything. And when they beat the Colts in the Super Bowl, I hated Joe Namath. I hated him. I couldn't believe it. And I get drafted by the Jets. It was surreal. I go, this can't be. I should have been drafted by the Steelers. I was from Penn State. I go to the Jets, and they were terrible back in those days.
But I've often wondered when pro athletes end up on a team that was, in opposition to the team they grew up loving. I mean, it just must be a weird head trip that you have to go through.
Well, it's a funny thing when people pay you to play football, what you'll do.
You root for the paycheck. There you go.
Well, it's Green and White Day here on Monday.
That's right.
So the email went out to the staff. We're all required to wear green and white on Monday.
I think that's awesome. And let's hope you continue to wear it. Let's go.
Well,
we're very excited about the season.
Yes.
Very excited.
Steve Serby in a post yesterday, said that.
Don't say it. You see, I have a problem.
Okay. Steve Serby in the post said the Buffalo Bills will be number 2.
And we know who will be number 1. And I always think that's a jinx to even say it. What do you think?
I think he's finally listening to what Greg Buttle says. That's all I'm telling you. You know what? He's learned. It's taken him a long time to learn, but he is adept at being camouflaged and a chameleon. So I think that it's going to be good for the Jets. They have everything they need to be a winning football team this year,
including some offensive line improvements.
Well, the offensive line, I think, was the biggest improvement they made from year to year. I mean, when you have 15 different offensive linemen playing last year, injuries and, ability, you look at that and you go, that's got to be a priority. Of course, the quarterback is always a priority, but you got to protect him. You've got to be able to let him be the best that he can be. And an offensive line is the way to begin it.
Okay, so we're going there with Aaron Rodgers and his health. And when I went to training camp, he looked great, but that was training camp. What are your thoughts? You see him a whole lot more than I have.
Well, I would tell you right now, it's incredible that the guy has an Achilles tendon injury and he comes back within a year. And I saw what you saw, by the way. I saw a quarterback that was very mobile. He could run. He did not limp at all. I tried to watch. I didn't care how he threw the ball because I already know that here's a guy that can maneuver. He can get out of the way. I think that I've never said anybody gets 100% healed, but he is at least 95% healed. And the only difference will be real game action under the lights. And what could be better than Monday Night Football in San Francisco?
Okay, what about the Jets defense?
Jets defense is top-notch defense. They last year they were top 5, and the only reason they were top 5 and not top 2 is their offense was terrible last year. They put them in such positions. Experience tells me that if you spend 65 to 70 plays on the field as a defense, you're not going to win many football games. When you go down there, let's take an example. The Pittsburgh Steelers of the the middle 70s, early 80s, the four Super Bowls in 6 years. Their defense may be on the field for 40 to 45 plays a game. And that's how you create a great defense, by not having to play as much as other defenses.
All right, Greg Buttle is with us. You have a question, Trevor?
No, I got a couple questions, but here, I'm a fantasy football kind of guy. I don't know how you feel about fantasy football, but listen, Jets players aren't usually taken. And every draft that I've been in the first round, multiple Jets players are taken. Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, these young guys. How impactful are they going to be to the team this year?
You know, it's a funny question, not because it's fantasy, but it's the look at what you are looking at is no different than what the Jets look at in terms of what they need. Do you know, back from 2019, Joe Douglas was hired as a general manager, and there are 3 players remaining on the Jets roster from that year: C.J. Mosley, Quinnen Williams, and their long snapper, Thomas Hennessy. They've changed this whole roster around from top to bottom. And I think this year you will see the fruits of that work. And certainly I think the pressure would be on all the Jets that, hey, this is the year that they should go out there and make the playoffs.
Well, Monday night, it all begins.
Game 1.
Right here, Q104.3. And of course, Greg co-hosts the pre and post game broadcast right here on Q104.3. And have you ever looked Joe Namath in the eye and told him that he ruined your childhood?
Every effing day.
Greg, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Listen, it's awesome. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that my partner, Dan Grassa, is a huge history buff. And I will tell you, he comes up with stuff I don't even know about the Jets. But thank you, guys. It's been a wonderful morning. Let's go, Jets.
All right. See you later. 8:13. Oh, Jets.
Jets.
8:13 at Q104.3.
New York's classic rock, Q104.3.